Hey guys, Finn here from Complete Body Approach, and today I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about the human foot, the importance of it, as well as some of the movements in it. So to start off with this, I'm going to look at the structure of the human foot. So with this, there's 26 bones in your feet and 33 joints. There's the same amount of joints in through your whole spinal column as there is in the feet. So like, it's such an important structure, having all of them joints moving and flowing over one another to allow that free flowing movement through the rest of the body. So now if you think, like, that's 26 bones, 33 joints in one foot and in the 2 feet. So there's a lot of things with that that we need to keep an eye on, and a lot of things that can start having a bit of a change in how the rest of that movement comes in. When we look at that, looking at a normal foot in that neutral position, there's the two main movements, which is pronation and supination of your foot. So pronation is when your arch drops down, supination is when your arch is nice and high. So like, this is one of the things, like, it's in today's society is very kind of overlooked, and it's like, oh, if your arch is high, like, then that's really bad, or if your arch is really low, that's really bad, and you need to go and get orthotics, and you need to go and get something to try to block that foot up to prevent it from pulling back. Like, I myself went through a lot of this. Like, I thought I had high arches, and it was very impacted on the outside of my feet. So like, I was prescribed shoes and running shoes that were really fat and heavy and loads of impact to try to push me into a bit more pronation. And I go over time, like, this was causing havoc through my body, and it wasn't until I started looking at my feet movements and looking at what was restricting me and getting my foot to actually do the movements naturally itself, and start regressing back from like these big bulky shoes to more minimalist shoes and teaching my feet how to move the right way. That's when I started seeing some massive changes in my body. So again with this here, so like, if your feet, like, if it goes from that pronation to supination, that's when we have that nice flow from one to the other. Like, as I talked about on the last video, like, it's so important, like, when our heel hits the ground, it should be supinated, and then we should be falling into that pronation as we're loading that weight through, and then from there, that's when we're expanding, coming into that supination, and it works through that nice steady flow. So like, if you can't move through that pronation or supination through one of them, that's going to cause a block in your body, and it's going to cause a block filtering the rest of up through the rest of the system. And if there is one area in your body that doesn't move, there's going to be somewhere else that has to start picking up the slack. So if your foot doesn't move the right way, something else up your chain is going to be moving too much to try to compensate for that. So it's really important to look at it. Then as well as that, like, if your foot is, if you've got like a flat arch and you've got like flat feet, where like, a lot of people just get a big piece of plastic and wedge it in there, or get these big shoes that wedge it in there and like lock it in that more neutral position and stop it from allowing that movement. And like this, some people need orthotics. A lot of people are overprescribed orthotics because they don't allow the natural flow of the movement in your foot, which is going to cause effects through the rest of the body. So I'm going to expand a little bit more through here. When we look at the feet, it is divided up into the rear foot, the mid foot, and the forefoot. So with the rear foot, that's how everything moves through your heel. Then the mid foot is all of the small metatarsals and more articulate movements through here, and then the forefoot is more so looking at what's happening through your big toe. Whenever we're walking, heel is coming down, so like your rear foot, they all work in opposition to each other. Whatever's happening in your rear foot, the same thing is happening in your forefoot, and the midfoot is working in opposition. So it's like 3 cogs in a clock. Whenever one cog rotates this way, the other cog rotates back this way, and the third cog does the same as the first one. So as we're working through that supination, like, that's where everything is rotating back, and then falls back in to allow that nice flow through the movements and get everything working nice and smooth. This is seen as well with like how everything else works through the rest of the body. So whenever we're heel striking, for instance, on in that strike, that's going to be working through, and that links in with what our pelvis is doing, and that through that posterior heel to the pelvis. Then as we start coming into that pronation, coming through there, it drops down, and the pelvis drops down with it. So if you're not able to, not getting a clean heel strike and not getting that plantar or dorsiflexion through here, then that could be linking up to why you may be having some issues coming through your pelvis. And then as you fall into that that suspension phase where like your foot is pronated, then that's when you should have a little bit more of an anterior tilt through your pelvis, and that's going to filter through the rest of the movements from one side to the other. So the good thing to work with this one is looking at your feet, standing up nice and tall, and it's just seeing how your feet move. What is the ease of one side compared to the other? Going through that pronation, coming through that supination, and just getting them ankles rolling in and out, in and out. So the big thing you want to look with this one, try not to move through your knees or your hips. Try to get the movement coming from your shins and more so down just in the ankle joint itself. So stand up nice and tall, feet pointing nice and straight. Imagine there's a hook in the base of your skull, and that's pulling you up nice and tall. And then from there, focusing on one side, just rotate that foot into pronation, then slowly rotate that foot back out to supination. Coming into pronation, coming out to supination. And just see how that feels, and try to force that articulation through here. Big thing to see with this as well, as we're supinating, a lot of people lift the foot up. So if you see when that big toe is lifted up with it, that means that your forefoot and your midfoot are all moving as one, whereas they want to be working in cogs and working against each other. So in order to stop that, focus on keeping the base of your big toe in contact as you're trying to lift that arch up nice and high, and then dropping that back down, lifting that arch up nice and high, dropping that back down. And this is a really good drill to start working through as much as you can. Like I find myself when I'm standing there, just constantly just get them ankles rolling, get everything coming nice and smooth. I like that just helps work through any of your restrictions. And a good way to see this here through the rest of the movement in the body, like if I put my hips over to one side and coming back over to the other side, that's going to filter through my feet. So whenever my hips are over this side, my right foot is supinated, my left foot is in a pronated position. Then when I come over this way, it's the opposite. So by working through, getting more of that movement and flow through your feet, that's going to filter in how your body's able to move through more movements up the rest of the kinetic chain. So have a play with some of these movements, have a little bit of exploration of what's going on in your feet. Does one side move easier than the other? Does that relate to some stuff coming up through your hips? I like working and playing at them different movements, and let me know how you get on. I'm going to be sharing a little bit more information about other exercises, as well as like some the effects of some footwear have on the biomechanics that's going on in our feet as well. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and stay tuned for more to come. Thank you.